Okay, so this PM I finally got around to watching this film, Dracula, A Love Tale. Everyone's talking about it on social media, so I said, what the hell? Let me see what this film is all about, what the hoopla is all about. I watched this film and I said, this is a damn good film. This is like France's version of Sinners. It was a really good film. The ending, however, was horrible. I can honestly say I've seen a lot of films. A lot of films. No film has ever had an ending that has made me as angry as the ending of this film. And after watching this film, I had to take some time and bring my energy level back up. But watching the ending and immediately after this film, I was pissed. This is a spoiler alert. If you have not seen this film, don't watch this video. If you have seen it, carry on. Watching this film reinforced to me why I'm not a Christian and why I don't hate God, but I despise him. I really do. After watching this film, I can wholeheartedly say I would rather have every disease on the face of this earth rather than to be a Christian. Yeah. In this film, you have Christoph Waltz, who is a brilliant actor, but he plays this priest, and his character made me absolutely sick. Made me absolutely sick. The story is very relatable to the idea of the prison planet theory and the reincarnation trick theory and all of the connecting factors to that. Here you have in this film Dracula and his wife Elisabetta, and they are both devout Christians, very obedient to God's will, and they are essentially doing everything that God wants them to do, fitting with that time period. And as a thank you from God, God kills Elisabetta, thereby separating Elisabetta and Dracula for 400 years. And for 400 years, Dracula is in extreme, painful grief, all because of what God did. And so Dracula says, well, the hell with this. I'm going to do whatever I can to reunite with my wife. And he does reunite with her. But then God says, oh, no, you don't. I separated you all, and I want you to stay separated. So then in comes the priest, played by Christoph Waltz, who lies to Dracula to separate him from his wife. And if you are spiritual, you know that the separation of Dracula and his wife, if this had been a real situation and Dracula and Elisabetta were real people and not fictional characters, the separation would have been permanent. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, this is making me so fucking upset. So upset. Because essentially this priest rather, he's telling Dracula lies. If you love Elisabetta, you will let me in you. And if you let me in you, you will have the, the forgiveness of God and be with God, because your soul still belongs to him. And all the lies that this priest is telling Dracula, Dracula is taking it in and he's believing it. And he lets the priest end him, thinking that in the priest ending him, he's going to go to this paradise realm with God. And who knows, maybe years later, when Elizabetta finally does leave the physical realm for the second time, she'll go to this paradise realm and be reunited with Dracula and will be with God. And all of that is bullshit. It is such bullshit. You know, this was a fictional film. These are fictional characters. But if these characters had been real people and the details of this film had been carried out in real life, this is what would have happened. The priest would have told Dracula, if you love Elizabetta, you have to let me kill you. And once you let me kill you, you can be with God, because your soul still belongs to God. You can have the forgiveness of God and be with him. And Dracula agrees to this, thinking he's going to go to this paradise realm and be with God. And eventually, when Elizabetta physically passes, she'll go to this paradise realm and be reunited with him. And together they'll be with God. When in actuality, the minute the priest kills Dracula, his soul comes up out of the body, and his soul sees a white light and sees God. And God is telling Dracula to come with him into the white light. And Dracula does, because he thinks he's going to be with God in this paradise realm, when in actuality where he's taken to is to Summerland, to go through extreme mental and emotional and even physical torture until God decides it's time for him to reincarnate. Then God wipes clean Dracula's memory and reincarnates him into another body on Earth. But when he gets reincarnated back onto Earth, God is going to make sure that he will never, ever, ever be reunited with Elizabetta ever again. Then Elizabetta passes, whenever she does, and she is shown God. And this illusion of Dracula standing there telling her, "Beloved, come with me. We can finally now be together for all eternity." All of that is nothing but illusion. But she believes it and follows God and Dracula into the light. And she is taken to the Summerland, where she undergoes severe mental, emotional, and physical torture before her memory is wiped and she is reincarnated for a second time. But when she gets reincarnated the second time, God makes sure that she never finds Dracula. So essentially, once Dracula allows the priest to kill him, Dracula and Elizabetta will never ever be reunited ever again. That's it. They are separated forever. All under the umbrella of lies. Because God feels like this. I separated them the first time. They found their way back to each other. I'm not going to allow this to happen again. This time, I'm going to make sure that they will never find their way back to each other ever again. Because it's beneficial to God to have these two souls separated permanently. And so, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, this is what happens all the time in real life in today's world. You hear about family members facing all these type of tragedies. And some of the family members live and others don't. husband and a wife, they face tragedy. Even engaged couples, boyfriend and girlfriend, they face tragedy. One lives, one doesn't. And the one that doesn't believes that if I cross over, if I go with those who are asking me to go with them, if I go into this light, I know eventually one of these days I'll be reunited with my loved one. So it's okay, I'll go, knowing that they will never be reunited with their loved one, because what happens is they go to the Summerland, they go through extreme mental, physical, and emotional torture, and then they're reincarnated. And they're reincarnated with their memory being wiped and with the assurance from God that they will never be reunited with their loved ones ever again. The reason why this happens is because, as I've said many times before, God is Lucifer. People don't believe that, but spiritual people do. God is Lucifer, and Lucifer is evil. Lucifer is also known by another name, which is Enki. And Enki has a son, whose name is Marduk. Marduk also goes by another name, Satan. And Enki and Marduk, they thrive off of family members, loved ones being separated from each other. They love separating families. They love separating loved ones because they themselves are separated from love. They are completely separated from it. So they want others to be separated from love, the love that comes from loved ones. They want to keep people separated. And in them keeping people separated from each other, they benefit from it because they can use a person if that person is separated from the ones they love. They can use them at a much greater level. This is why they love separating loved ones. They do this all the time here on earth through their puppetry organizations. You can't get government assistance unless, you can't get government assistance if the father is in the home. The father has to go away, therefore, separating the father from the rest of the family. Separation. Putting a family in the midst of tragedy. Taking some of the family members, leaving others there. Separation. Enki and Marduk, they love to separate because separation equals greater loose energy for them. So this is what this film showed. And see, if you are really deeply spiritual, you'll see that meaning in this film. Yeah, the film was about this love story, yeah, but there was a deeper meaning in it. And if you're spiritual, you can see the deeper meaning in it. That film showed how, despite these two people being obedient servants of God, God still made them suffer. And when these two found a way to stop their suffering by coming back to each other, God made them suffer again through the lies from one of God's own, a priest. Because I guarantee you, if the priest had told Dracula, if you let me kill you, you can be able to go to this realm where you will be held until you're reincarnated. And once you're reincarnated, you'll never see Elizabetta ever again. But it's all for the glory of God. I guarantee you Dracula would have said no and probably killed the priest. But see, in order to get Dracula to agree, he had to lie to him. Just like they do when you cross over to the afterlife. In order to get you to agree to go with them, they have to tell you lies. Lies that benefits them, not you. That's why this film made me so angry. So angry. Because this beautiful couple. They didn't have to be separated. As a matter of fact, that's how Elizabetta ended up dead, because Dracula went off to go and fight, all in the name of God. If Dracula had never went off and said, fuck you, God, they would have been together for numerous years. But see, going to do the work of God caused them to be separated. And they were separated by God, despite the fact that both of these individuals were obedient God servants. And then when they found their way back to each other, God said, oh, no, you don't. You're going to stay separated. So, and the noise in the background, I'm sitting in a recliner chair, okay? An old recliner chair. But, yeah, so that's what I got from that film. And that's why that film made me angry. Because the film may, well, no, that's scratch. No, wait a minute, stop. The film was fictional. The characters were fictional. But the story behind the love tale is so true. Husband and wife just got married. On their way to the honeymoon, the wife dies, the husband lives, or the husband dies, the wife lives. Separation. And it is from God. It's from God, who is nothing but Lucifer, who is no one but Lucifer. Separating beloved couples. It happens every single day. Even to those who are so devoted to God and Christianity, it happens to them. And if they ever do have a chance to reunite with each other after reincarnating, some way, somehow, God, who is Lucifer, will find a way to stop that reunion. Because separation of loved ones, separation of love empowers God, who is Enki, who is Lucifer, and his son, Marduk, who is also Satan. It empowers them because it allows them to get a greater feed off of the ones they have separated. So this is what I got from that film. I encourage everyone to see this movie. It's not playing in the US in theaters, but you can find it online. That's how I found it, because I was determined to see this film. And at first I said, oh, this shit isn't going to be good. This is going to be a snooze fest. But then I really started watching the film with my spiritual eye. And the more I got into it, the more this story resonated with me. Take off the vampire aspect of it, just the love story. It resonated with me. The unification of these two people that God, who is Lucifer, wanted to break. I'm telling you, God, who is Lucifer, is evil. And so are his Christians. So are his Christians. Because again, the priest was a Christian. Lied to Dracula to separate on behalf of God. Evil. So I encourage you to see this movie. If you are spiritual, you will see the aspects of the reincarnation trick and the prison planet theory within the story. You will see the evil aspects of God, who is Enki, within the story. You'll see it. You will really see it. And I think this is a good film that shows the truth about reincarnation, the afterlife, and religion. It shows the absolute truth. So, good film. I would give it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely. The guy who played Dracula is kind of hard to look at, but but he did a good job. He did a good job. He did a really good job. And I've seen him in the film Get Out. He is a really good actor, extremely talented, hands down. So I'm glad I saw the film. Leave your thoughts below. What do you think about this film if you've already seen it? And please do not put in the comment section how I'm reading too much into this, or how what I am seeing in regards to how this film is wrong, because that's your perception. And that's your perception because you're blind. My perception is that Christians separated this couple not once but twice. And Christians did it on behalf of God, who agreed with the separation of this couple, all based off of Christian lies and manipulation and deception. That's what I saw when I watched this film. Therefore, showing me how evil Christianity is, and how evil a lot, and I do mean a lot, of Christians are. So, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you all for listening. Until next time.